Hey guys, welcome back for another episode of The Suited Shootist. I'm going to be doing something this week that I don't think I've ever done on the channel before, and that is I have my my package from PHLster. Supposed to be a pre-release of the Enigma 2.0. No fault of theirs, but as you may know, they had some shipping issues, and I got caught up in that. So I've seen the videos, I've seen other people posting about them, but I thought it might be fun to actually get my live first impressions on the new improvements that they've made on the design. So let's check it out. So let's see what we got. All right, so it's coming a la carte. So I've got the sport belt, my invoice. Hey, nice little trifold with all of their products and a QR code in there in terms of their learning resources. I really like this. I might have to steal this idea for my day job. And then here we are. We have the Enigma and a nice little retro PHLster sticker. That'll be going right on something. So, I did have them send me a 365 Enigma because I very much love the Enigma that I currently have set up. The consideration is I currently have mine set up for a 365 XL with, and that's even the long boy from Darkstar. What I've found is that holster body when I deep carry is a little too long, so I thought it might be nice to have a dedicated deep carry setup. And so out of the bag, you've got the pre-assembled Express along with the additional leg leash and some extra hardware, another QR code, and all of that. So let's take a look here. So they have kind of the claymore or in, this side towards body. But let's go ahead and actually look at what everybody's interested in. So there's the texture of the new faceplate. And I know this was one of the major focuses of this design. And again, right off the bat, I gotta say, the fit and finish on this is a dramatic improvement from the Tegris because a lot of folks were complaining that there wasn't enough clearance and that they were busting their knuckles up on the top edge of the faceplate. So this is dramatically smoother. I never had a major issue with it, so we'll see, but I can definitely understand that. What I'm really excited about is the faceplate texture, because I was one of those people that had the issue of sometimes this kind of gliding up and down my body and not sticking enough to the inside front face of whatever pants I was wearing. So that feature upgrade is something I'm very eager to test drive. The belt and the mini fidlock buckle seem to be, I'm not seeing anything jumping out at me there. Here's the other one that I'm interested in, because unlike a lot of people, I actually vastly preferred the original leg leash design, because the upgraded kind of little click and snap one here that they went to, the original 1.0 version, I had that come undone on me a couple times, which was kind of confusing. So I'm going to test drive this and see how much more secure it is. There is a nice positive click into place. And so I'm going to withhold judgment on it until I get it all set up and everything. But short version is yes, very excited to see exactly how this plays. Now, again, kind of a caveat. If this is going to be a deep carry rig, this sport belt may actually end up going on my other 365 because I'm going to try it on here first. I have found that for deep carry, usually when I am doing deep carry, it is when I'm in dress clothes. And when I'm doing that, I like wearing the holster over my shirt, but under my pants. So that way I don't have to dig around anything. And it's really just fairly easy for me to on the draw stroke. Now, the concern that I've had is the sport belt, because the back panel is so wide, will sometimes creep up above the belt line more so than the regular belt. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to set this up on this holster first. See what happens. Because looking at it, the way they've got this rigged up, the left tail will still interact with the fidlock buckle, but because on the Express, it is a much narrower loop for the material, it looks like I'll double check, because they include the little Tegris thing as well. I'm not sure if that is because they recommend using this panel interfacing with this screw here, or if that is just a kind of a carryover so that it's the same sport belt regardless of if it's going on the Express or the OS. That is very likely confusion on my part, so I need to do a little bit of customer education and make sure that I'm up to speed on exactly what this is intended to do. But just outward appearances, because it is the same 1.5 webbing that's just folded down, it would stand to reason that you should be able to just fold this down. It's literally the same webbing. So yeah. And I know this is a little bit disjointed, but again, this is like a legit unboxing. I'm figuring this all out real time. So I will confirm. My guess is that this little tongue of Tegris is only necessary if you're using an OS faceplate, not an Express. Could be mistaken. And whichever way I find out, I'll put it down in the comments. So, you know what? Hell, let's just go ahead and do that now. So the way they've got it is just very neatly folded, as you can see. Once you undo that tri-glide buckle, off we go. Oh, and interesting. So this one is actually stitched that way. There we go. Nice little fit and finish feature on that. That is the kind of attention to detail that really just highlights the craftsmanship of a good quality product. And that's not just PHLster, but whether you're talking about a holster, whether you're talking about, a custom dress shirt or a suit, it's these little details that really give you good insight into how much the manufacturer truly cares about the user experience. Because even though cost-wise, this is probably, cents per unit, at scale, that can get expensive. But the fact that they're willing to incur that cost to make sure that the product performs better for the end user, I think is a testament to their commitment to the customer. And so let's see here. We've got a loose end and we have a tri-glide buckle end. So I'm going to assume that the one with the tri-glide buckle on it is going to be the non-fidlock side. And so, and so we have kind of just fold it this way.
3 hours later.
Okay, yeah, I just kind of cut and cropped it because I figured y'all didn't want to just see me struggle with this for however long it took. But also, just as kind of an interesting little observation, you can see how, on the back side, I was able to get it kind of nice and folded, but on the front side, it's not quite as tidy. Functionally, I'm sure it's fine, but, again, when I did my Patreon live stream with John, and I've also talked with Andrew Henry about this, as well as, I think Adam over at Eridus Industries. Those guys, they don't prioritize aesthetics per se. However, it's interesting how things that are aesthetically pleasing sometimes will indicate that they are well designed. That's not to say that everything that is pretty is well designed, but it's not uncommon that things that are well designed tend to be aesthetically pleasing. So, yeah, we will take this for a test drive, and I don't know, maybe I'll actually get some photos of kind of how I'm running this to stick at the end of the video. One thing that I didn't realize that they had tweaked on the leg leash until I went to put it on for the first time was this little guy right here. They have actually now put in a piece of elastic that gives you a little bit more play, which I think is a great little feature, because in order for the leg leash, for me at least, to stay at the level that I want it, other than keeping it as short as possible, I like to have a decent amount of tension on it without it turning into a ligature or a tourniquet. And so, having just this little bit of stretch, it's kind of like having a little bit of stretch in your jeans. It makes things fit better. So yeah, definitely a great little attention to detail, like all the other upgrades on the new Enigma. The other nice thing that they did include was, like I said, the additional leg leash. They also, in the bag, have the taller wedge as well. So, looks like they have the medium wedge angle factory installed, and if you want a little bit more, then that exists as well. So, initial impressions are, is it anything earth-shattering or revolutionary? No. They are definitely some intentional and thoughtful changes to the design, and I'm very curious to see how those changes affect the user experience. So stay tuned. I will definitely be doing an update on this. In the same vein, I wanted to make sure that I was giving this the appropriate, I'm going to have some flight time on this before I really pass judgment on it. So yeah, and it looks like, just as with the previous design, I'm going to want to tighten these screws up a little bit, because there is a little bit of play in terms of the actual cant of the holster body on the faceplate itself. Now, for me personally, I do prefer either straight up or a slight negative cant for my appendix carry guns. I know there are some folks that prefer, kind of a more traditional forward cant of a few degrees. I'm not a fan of that. I actually did a video as to why, and it was one of the old ones when I shot my closet. Probably due for an update, but short version is like it puts your wrist at a really wonky angle. But that is going to be for another video. I am very excited about the new Enigma 2.0. And so if you have any flight time with it so far, let me know your thoughts. If you have any questions about whether you think it's going to be worth making the move, let me know as well. Now, I know that there's a very limited window where you're going to be able to buy upgrade kits, so factor that in. That being said, from all accounts, the company has been saying that it will be less expensive to simply buy the new Enigma than it would be to piece together kind of the new components and a previous holster. So there's a couple of ways to go about this, depending on what your needs are. If you got questions, like I said, put them in the comments. If you had experience with this so far, I want to hear about that too. And other than that, hope it has a fantastic week. Stay dangerous and stay sharp.